So when a patient develops such conditions, we have a procedure for them, and that procedure is catheterization. So we have the equipment here. We are avoiding it as a result of, the exposure of private part to so many people. So as a result of privacy, we covered it. But the bladder is in situ. It is in place, which we have done it properly.
Correct.
So this one is a bag urine.
Okay.
We will accumulate the amount of fluid that will come from the bladder, and we have the ranges here. It will help us in terms of knowing how many fluids that we got from this patient. And that is how the procedure is, Your Excellency.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I appreciate. We have the third presentation. The third presentation here. Yeah.
One more.
Yeah. They will be
Hello.
talking more about.
Very good. Habari?
Nzuri sana.
Very good.
Your Excellency, welcome to KMTC Mandera. I'm Abdul Fattah Adan, lecturer clinical medicine, and these are my students. This is Fahad, and this is Ruida. So today I'm I'm pleased to present on respiratory examination. The respiratory system basically is a breathing system. So at first we have to take consent from the patient. From there, now we have to screen the patient for the purpose of privacy and so on. Then we start with something called inspection, where we inspect the patient as a whole and the chest as a whole. So on the nose, we check something called nasal flaring, which is the widening of the nostrils in case of increased breathing. Then we check for cyanosis. Cyanosis is basically the bluish coloration due to low oxygen and so on. We come to the chest. So the chest, we check how it is moving, chest movement. We check for any deformity. We check for any scars, whether it is surgical or whether it is therapeutic marks and so on. So from inspection, we go to something called palpation. Palpation is where we touch the patient now. So how we, on palpation now, what are we checking when we are doing palpation? Number one, we are checking for tenderness. Tenderness is basically pain. We just elicit pain, whether the patient is feeling any pain on his chest and so on. Then we go to something called chest expansion. We tell the patient to breathe in and out to see that the level of chest expansion. Then we go to the trachea. Sometimes in case of pneumothorax, that is increased air in the lung, we have trachea deviates. So we see whether the trachea is centrally located or it is deviated to the sides. So after palpation, now we go to percussion. Percussion is where now we percuss on the intercostal spaces. The intercostal spaces basically is the space between the ribs. So we check, we compare both sides. So we look for something called resonance. So the normal one is resonance. Then if there is increased air in the lungs, we have hyperresonance. It will be increased. So if it is actually low, we sometimes find it is dull to percussion. So that is dullness in case of maybe fluid in the lungs, and also in case of any masses or tumor in the lung. From percussion, now we go to auscultation. Auscultation is where we use this stethoscope. So we normally use this stethoscope. When we are using the stethoscope also, we use the diaphragm of the stethoscope. Again, we place this one, the place where we did the percussion, that is still the intercostal spaces. So when we are doing this one, we check for bilateral air entry. We check for if both lungs are receiving air entry bilaterally. Then from there we go to the breath sounds, whether it is normal or abnormal. The normal breath sounds is vesicular breath sounds. The abnormal breath sounds is bronchial breath sounds. From there again we go to check for added sounds, which are like wheeze in case of asthma. Then there is something called crepitations and crackle in case of pneumonia. So that is all about. Thank you.
That's a very good lesson. We are ready for the exam. Asante sana.